Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 8 of the Half Brothers podcast. My name is Jacob,
My name is Glenn.
and we are, in fact, half brothers. I know you never would have guessed it, but yeah, this is episode 8. Thank you for joining. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment down below on how much you hate us, just so we know.
Yeah, and who's better looking?
Yeah, I don't say who's better looking because it's gonna hurt my feelings,
No, we already done the answer. Look at that jawline, dude.
and I need the confidence boost this week.
Yeah. Well, that's great, man. Well, Jacob, how are you doing, buddy? How's life? How's soccer? How's Ohio?
Oh no, I was hoping you weren't gonna ask me.
No, you had a big game, right?
Yeah, so soccer's not been going well. Saturday
Really?
team is usually just, we usually just run through everybody. And we actually lost this week. We only lost by 1, so it wasn't that bad. I was, not happy with the loss. And then yesterday we had the championship game and we lost 14-1.
No way.
Yeah.
Had you played this team before?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
And what happened last time you played this team?
We lost 5-3. And we lost 14-1 yesterday.
So our fans, all 3 of them, have been really listening to this soccer saga that you have going on, and you've been very confident and some might say a little arrogant about your team and their chances of winning.
Here's what I'll say. I was never confident in my men's league team. I knew we were going to lose that game. I did not think it would be 14-1.
Dang.
Yeah, that was
What?
heartbreaking.
Maybe if it was, maybe if you had some women, it would have been better. Happy Women's History Month, everyone.
Honestly.
But the co-ed team is doing well. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, so Co-ed Saturday team somehow figured out a way to lose the game. But we should be back on track. We actually start playing on Mondays. So like my Co-ed Saturday team, which is my team that I play with my high school buddies with, we start playing Mondays as well. That's outdoor starts next week. And so we're going to be playing Mondays and Saturdays for a few weeks. Saturdays is going to be an overlap of like 4 weeks. And then we're just going to be Mondays with that team. So I'll be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday playing. And then my other co-ed team plays Thursdays, and that championship game is tomorrow. And one of the girls who is joining my Monday night team plays on the team that we're playing against. And then one of the girls that is also on the Monday night team is playing with my Thursday night team this week. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Well, let's bounce back. I know everyone's probably going to be a little disappointed to hear that you lost the championship game, and I'm really sorry about that. But come back next year and do what Jalen Hurts did, where he made his lock screen the picture of him. Or wait, what was it? It was what I'm talking about? It was like a picture of him. It was a picture of him watching the Chiefs celebrate their victory a couple years ago. That was his lock screen since they lost the Super Bowl, and now they just won a Super Bowl. So
yeah, it worked.
It's motivation. Keep it there. Put it there. I had a pretty big event take place last night. Actually, we pre-record this, so last night was Tuesday. My first comedy show back since before my surgery.
I did see you post a clip of that.
Thank you. It went very well. Not that it was like, the best ever, amazing, but I thought I was going to be way more rusty, and I was a little rusty, and I did some unfinished material, but the crowd was great. It was a good time. We had fun, and it's good to be back. Yeah, man, it's been a lot of fun. I told some jokes about, my special needs uncle, who I'm named after, Uncle Glenn. And, I was very people get a little on edge. They think that I'm going to say something mean. I said nothing mean. I was complimentary of my uncle, but he does some funny things. And you know what? I'm allowed to talk about it because I take care of him, and I'm named after him. So we're pretty cool.
And but he's your uncle.
Yeah, literally, yeah. But you can kind of tell some people, as soon as I said the word special needs, a few people got uptight. They thought I was going to be mean. They thought I was going to be a bully. When it's like, dude, I just told you this is my uncle whom I love and adore. And I just talk about some of the funny things he does. Because, you've met Uncle Glenn. It's probably been a while since you've seen him, right?
Yeah.
But he makes some funny noises, right? Yeah. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
But he's very smart and he's hilarious. And so I just quoted him a few times and talked about some things that he does. And they laughed finally. And then one time they didn't laugh though. And I was like, well, for any of you that feel the need to be offended out there, just know that he thinks this joke is hilarious. And then they're like, okay, we can laugh. And then I'm like, just kidding. He doesn't get the joke yet, but he's laughing all the time anyway. So, yeah. So they, it was kind of a, we're still working on some material, but it's a good time. Love comedy. Good to be back in the comedy world. So you might have had a big loss, and I'm sorry, but I had a big W. And you know what?
You
win
man.
some, you lose some.
I was going to say.
I'm going to have some losses coming up soon. Speaking of loss, I've been losing a lot of money lately because everything's so expensive.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
How you doing with money, Jacob? You rich?
No, 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 not even close to it, brother. Like, so far from rich. I mean, I still got money in the bank, so there's nothing to be upset about, but had a lot more money in the bank 6 months ago, I can tell you that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you know what? Since we're already talking about money, I think it's a great segue because, folks, today we are talking about money, cash flow,
Yup.
budgeting. Now, real quick, I just want to give a disclaimer. I am by no means a financial expert. In fact, part of the reason that I have something to offer to this conversation is because money has been a struggle most of my life. And in times where maybe it wasn't a struggle, I wasn't handling it responsibly. So now I'm learning a lot of great ways to be a better steward of my money, to get out of debt quicker, to be more responsible. And it's hard, but it's worth it when you do it right. So yeah, so we're going to talk about money today. And I just want everyone to know I am not a financial advisor, not a financial expert, but I know someone that is, and his name is Dave Ramsey, who I've been listening to a lot lately.
Well,
And I'm taking
also,
his class.
I am a financial expert. Like, listen
That's
to
right.
everything I say about money like it is the gospel. Like, you're gonna get rich if you listen to me talk.
Jacob
And
told
if
me
you
to invest in Post Malone Oreos, and that stock has raised 30% in a week.
What can I say? But if you couldn't tell, that was sarcasm. I am also not a financial expert. I honestly same sort of thing as Glenn. You know, just have always kind of struggled with money, didn't grow up with a lot of it, and have gotten better with it as time's gone on. But you know, whole breakup thing happened. Didn't have a girlfriend to spend money on anymore. Bills got lower, so I just kind of decided, hey, I'm gonna buy a bunch of stuff for my gym. I'm gonna go eat out all the time. I'm gonna buy a new dog and buy her all these toys and beds and this and that. And yeah, the bank account has gotten low. The bank account has gotten low, significantly lower than it was. Not low enough for me to be crying about it. Something I always like to keep in perspective whenever I'm getting stressed about my money. If you have a motor vehicle that runs and an iPhone, you are in the top 1% of richest people in the world.
That's crazy.
So like there's this, huge rat race in America of, trying to be in the 1%, which is literally only making over $400,000, which is a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But that's the top 1%. If you make over $400,000 a year, you're in the 1% of America.
Is that per individual or
Yes,
household?
per
Per
individual.
individual. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you could, like, if it's a household, so like say, it's you and the wife, you guys together are in the 1%. So, it's just depending on which way you take it. But yeah, if you
Sure.
make
Yeah.
over
Yeah. Yeah.
$400,000, you're in the top 1% of richest people in America. And if you have an iPhone and a car, you're in the top 1% of richest people in the world. So, even though I don't have as much money in the bank as I used to, even though I can't, finish my gym and, do all these different or go on different trips and do all these things I want to do, like I'm still very fortunate and very blessed. And it's something that I try to remind myself whenever I start to get stressed out about.
But you can build back to that point, right?
Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure.
So I think that's what.
I've
So I
just been
think today,
irresponsible with my spending habits.
100%. And here's what's crazy. All right. Let's real quick before we dive in too much to it and get into the nitty gritty. Let's just talk about some things that are normal in spending culture. I've been learning a lot through Financial Peace University by Dave Ramsey, which is highly recommend. And Jacob, you read his book, right?
Yes.
You want to name that book? You want to plug that book, even though we're not sponsored? It's going to help a lot of people.
Total Money Makeover. I actually got it for my mom a couple years ago for Christmas. And then
Great
she just
gift.
started making a ton of money and now she just doesn't.
She doesn't. She
Like
doesn't
she
need
saves
it.
more than she used to, but yeah, she's not as good with her money as she could be. And if she was good with her money, she'd never have to worry about money.
But she's had a pretty steady, stable career, right? She's at the same job she's had.
Yeah, she's been at the
Same,
same job
just
she's
getting
had, but like
promoted and moving up.
yeah, but like she
Heck yeah.
never made more than like my upperclassmen years of high school, she was making like $60,000 a year. And up before that, she was making like less than $40,000 a year my entire life. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang,
So like she was never
respect.
making a ton of money up until my upperclassmen years. Then she got a pretty nice bump, and now she's making great money, especially
And
because
that's
like
she,
her rent is lower than mine. So it's like
yeah, and she doesn't have to spend money on Oreos for her son all the time, you know?
right, yeah. I mean, she
That's
still
probably
spends money on her son all the time just because she has so much of it.
that's
But
great. That's great. Yeah, we love that. That's amazing. Respect. And yeah, I think that's a great Christmas gift too. So that shows that that's a great Total Money Makeover, by the way. Like any financial book, like financial well-being book as a gift, because I got that book for my dad for Christmas once, because I was like, it's kind of like, hey, this is a great book, but also like you got to get your money right because it's really pissing me off. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those like fun gifts where it's like a little bit of a jab sometimes, you know? It's like, hey, I love you. I thought you'd like this. You better like this and you need this.
Read it.
I'm not gonna get you another George Foreman grill. Rest in peace. He just died.
Get it.
Man, every reference I make is a dead celebrity. It's not good. Yeah, I've noticed that. I'm just gonna start randomly naming some. No, but yeah, I think one thing we've been talking about in Financial Peace University, the class I've been taking, which is based off the Total Money Makeover, the Ramsey methods, which are great. Now there are some people that are financial experts and they feel that they've graduated from him. Totally get that. But for people like me, just working class citizens that are nowhere near that top 1%, not even concerned about that top 1%. Like, I'm just trying to steward my money well, and be responsible with it. So we've been talking a lot about how easy it is if you have a credit card. The difference between a credit card and cash is the credit card feels so easy and it doesn't even feel like you're spending money. So marketing, right? Marketing, it's always like, here, get this credit card because you can get more rewards, right? But when you do the math, like the rewards are not like you're not really saving money because of the interest on the credit card payments, and so you're actually losing money. But they're marketing in a way that makes you think, oh, I'm getting a killer deal, or oh, this will be worth it over time, blah blah blah, whatever. And so it's like, I'm not saying like, I know some people are responsible with credit cards. I'm not. But there's a psychology to when you have cash in your wallet and you see how much cash there is. And then you go to spend that cash and you see that it's slowly leaving, it's going away. So credit card spending. And now what's made it even harder is Apple Pay. It doesn't feel like you're doing anything when you put your phone up to that thing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's just it's money is hard. It's hard to be responsible whether you're making a lot of money or not, because we live in a world where every single thing is trying to get our dollar. Our phone. Think of the advertisements we get, the email advertisements you get, the social media advertisements you get, the YouTube ads you get, everything is trying to get us to spend money. But yeah, and then another thing, the last thing I'll say is, if you have your credit card saved on Amazon, you're like 60% more likely to make an impulsive purchase on Amazon. Now, that's not the number that they gave us, but I can't remember the number that they gave us. And it was a big one. I just wanted to say that confidently because, I didn't want to not have a number.
Yeah.
But think about it. I mean, when I'm on Amazon, now, if you're on Amazon and you put something in your cart and you have to go get your card, I'll be like, oh, I'll do this later. And then later goes by and then the next day it's on my cart and I'm like, oh, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't need an extra bidet. I don't need an extra,
You have a bidet?
yeah, man. It's the thing about the bidet that's nice is obviously it's great because, it cleans everything very well. But if you're in a hurry, if you're like on the toilet, you turn the bidet on, when you're done, do whatever you got to do. Then you get up, hurry, turn around, and it's spraying at your face, and you can wash your face real quick too and brush your teeth,
Two
and then get
birds,
out
one
in 5
stone.
minutes. Two birds, one stone. Yeah, it's literally
Efficiency.
it'll wash every crack in your body. So you know what? I am gonna add that to my cart right now. Let's get another one. But yeah, that was just an example that I came up with. But like, I do need new socks, but I don't need, more pens. I have plenty of pens right here, but every time I see a sale on pens, I'm like, damn, I need more pens. Anyway, what do you think? I said these things. What do you think, Jake? Do you have any stories or experiences where you think this is relevant? Like, does it feel easier to you to spend on a credit card? Do you feel like if you have cash, you're less likely to spend the cash? Or have you just gotten to a point where, or now you're being better about it, but was there a point where you were just not thinking about it at all?
Yeah, definitely. So I've just kind of stayed off of Amazon because I'm always looking at like workout equipment. I'm always, looking at, oh, I should buy this for the gym. Oh, I should buy this for the gym, or oh, I should buy this for the dog that keeps distracting me. And so I just kind of stayed off Amazon. I buy my electrolytes on Amazon. I buy my BCAAs on Amazon, and that's about it at the moment. And then I don't do the cash thing. I'm gonna start doing the cash thing because whenever I have cash, like there's a couple people I used to handle payments for soccer, and when a couple people would pay me in cash, I would hold on to that cash. Like I still have a lot of that cash, just because I wouldn't spend it because of that thing. I'm like, oh, if I spend this, I'm not gonna have this cash anymore. So I'm gonna start doing the whole cash thing, giving myself like a biweekly allowance because I get paid biweekly. So giving myself an allowance in cash that's like spendable money. You do groceries with your cash too, don't you?
So what I am doing now, and this is part of like Dave Ramsey's like debt snowball method and everything that I'm doing. So what I'm doing now is I take every single week, I take out a certain amount of cash, and that is the cash for my groceries and eating out, and then I guess fun money. So it's like this is how much money I can spend this week. The only thing I'm not spending with that cash is to get on the subway, to hop on the train. Like I use Apple Pay, you can't use cash. And so that's the only time I'm using Apple Pay right now. But, I've not been perfect at it, but it has helped. So I try to I've been taking out the ATM every week. What I want to do is every paycheck, I need to just take out a certain amount and put them in envelopes and put them in my desk drawer or something. Now, the scary thing about cash for me that I don't love is if I get mugged or jumped, there's no protection on that cash. So I don't carry a lot of cash with me at a time. I keep it in my, in a safe spot at home, and I try to take a certain amount that I know I'm going to need for that specific night or day or whatever, right? That's held me accountable, especially, bro, going out with friends and having a couple drinks. If I'm like, this is all I'm spending, that's all I have. And so I can't, once I pass that, then you're going to have to buy me a drink or I'm going home. So, you know, um, yeah,
Yeah,
because I don't take my cards with me and you
went
can't
out
Apple Pay most bars.
yeah, I went out with the boys on Saturday. My bill was a whopping like $3 because I got one Coke.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to say 300. Someone was like, whoa.
Nope, $3.
But yeah, man, I just think that, so to kind of kick things off with everything we're talking about, I think that today what we would like to do is kind of talk about our financial journeys and encourage people that might be struggling or people that have never struggled. Just let you know that there's people out there that do struggle. And, if you have any secrets or tips, like it could go a long way helping people, taking the time. Cause I didn't know anything about budgeting. I didn't learn in school. I didn't learn in college. It took me until I graduated. They didn't even teach me how to write a check anywhere. My friend taught me how to do that. And his dad taught him how to do that.
I
So
did
I
learn
didn't
how to
learn.
do that in high school. I did learn how to write a check in high school, but I don't even have checks. It's like I don't know how to do it anymore.
Yeah, now we don't need it, I guess. Yeah, but like I didn't know how to do any of that stuff, and but I did know how to say yes to student loans, and now I'm in debt. So now I need to know how to budget. And so I guess just a few things that we can kind of start off with is like the purpose of a budget, and we have a few points here, but the purpose of a budget is really to honor God with your wealth, right? To be a good steward of what God has given you. Like working is a gift. All right. We're not entitled to anything. And so if we have a job, it's hard to get a job, right? So if we have a job, if we're making any money, like that money is a gift from God, right? Now, if you're getting that money by selling cocaine or doing crazy things, well, that's different. And I think I've said that before actually
hmm
on this podcast. So
Actually,
there's
real quick,
also
while you say that, we're talking about money, we're talking about you doing those types of things. I just kind of had this thought process this thought that I was having the other day. Like you hear these different stories about like these rappers, these influence. Like I watched a Ruslan video talking about Lil Nas X and how he is very comfortable like mocking God and putting satanic images in his music videos and different things like that. I kind of had like the thought like selling your soul isn't always like this formal thing that it's like kind of made out to be in like the Hollywood sphere. Like, oh, Lil Nas X has sold his soul to the devil, and that's why he's getting all these, big plays and everything. Like selling your soul is deciding to do like it's deciding to make money selling drugs, is deciding to, to fornicate with, every woman you can see, like, or, being irresponsible with your money and spending it on, things that you shouldn't be spending it on, like going out to the bar every weekend or multiple times a week, making sure that your fridge is always stocked up with beer. I think that it's significantly easier to do than what we are like led to believe in today's society. Like I think, selling your soul is anytime you make that decision to like, hey, like, screw what the scripture says or what I know I should do. And there's that beautiful line in scripture for that Paul says, like, I do the things I know I shouldn't do, and I don't do the things that I know I should do. So it's like, I think, get off.
We
She's
love the dog.
standing up on the desk right now. But yeah, so I think that it's significantly easier than what it's made out to be. And I don't think enough people are talking about it. Like I don't think enough people are talking about, just the day-to-day choices we can make and how like that is it's damaging for your soul. Like I don't think these people, Lil Nas X, I just keep giving that as an example, or Lil Uzi Vert, like I don't think it was like one single decision, like kind of how it's made out to be in movies. It's like, oh, you have that time where you can choose between, good and bad, and that's when it happens. Like I think it's the compound of decisions over time. And, like one of the scriptures I have in here is 1 Timothy 6:10, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some have strayed from the faith, conveying it, and pierced themselves with many sorrows. And I think that that's something that a lot of people get stuck in. Like it's not, money itself isn't evil, and having money isn't evil. Although we're going to talk about some other pieces of scripture that do talk about money and the dangers of it. But the love of money, the chasing of money is the root of all evil. Like if these guys didn't love money, they probably wouldn't be doing the things that they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's a great point. It's like if you compromise, money is a great thing to have. It's a good thing to have. You can use it wisely. Like you need it, right? But if you're compromising your morals or your integrity or your character to make a ton of money, then you are, in fact, falling in love with money. And the love of money is the root of all evil. And I think that stands a test of time. Even if you don't believe in God, if you're not, Christian like we are, like we can all agree that we've seen examples where someone becomes addicted to making money and no longer cares about other things in their life. I mean, I'm not going to name any names specifically because, well, most I can't think of. But I mean, you think of the people in jail. You think of all these like white collared folks that are in jail for scamming people. I mean, Madoff, I can say, everyone knows that. That dude, scammed a ton of people, made billions of dollars, and because he fell in love with money. Like, there are people in this world, and we can all fall into that too, where you fall in love with money because it is important to make money, to work hard, to be successful, all these things. But when that becomes a sole focus, you will lose friendships, relationships, you'll lose yourself. And
Yeah,
that's where, like anything else, it becomes dangerous. More dangerous than drugs in some cases. More dangerous than immorality in sexual ways or romantic ways. More dangerous than a lot of other things that can lead you to live a life of sin because it can destroy you and it can promise you something that looks glamorous. And you're like, I'm not doing drugs. I'm not doing whatever. I'm not killing people. But it promises you this amazing fulfillment, but it's fun and it doesn't last. At the end of the night, it's just you and your mansion, At the end of your life, it's your body that doesn't work anymore and you have a really nice watch on skin and bones that are falling apart every single day.
yeah. And
And
money
so,
opens up all those other doors. Like you can't do drugs if you don't have money to buy drugs with. You can't, sleep with a ton of chicks if you don't have money to spend on said chicks. Like
well,
money is
some
at
people
the
can.
root of all the, I mean, yeah, if you're as good looking
A
as
lot
you
of
are.
guys can, yeah. No, not me. Oh, not me. I just want my pastor here, not me. But I'm just saying, I've seen some very attractive men and the girls throwing them at them. But anyway, we don't need to talk about that. Shout out to the sexy men out there.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you definitely can, but it's
Can
like,
we clip that? Can we clip that? Glenn saying, shout out to the sexy men out there all over social media. Get that one viral. We'd
I was
love
gonna
that.
say,
And then they'll come listen to this podcast.
for sure, they
Sorry, back to
definitely
you,
will.
J
We're
Hop.
woke. But yeah, like money is at the root of all those things. Like even, yeah, sure, you can be good looking and still, pick up chicks and whatnot. person that comes to mind when I think of that is like Dan Bilzerian. Dude is literally just surrounded by women all the time and he's rolling money. Or like all these different like influencers that I've grown up watching, like Logan Paul and Jake Paul. Like they used to, just be with all these different girls and everything. They're settling down now, good for them. But it was like because they got money and started chasing money at a young age that they were like, there used to be guys that were like, oh, I'm never going to get married. Like I'll never be with one woman for my entire life. And, luckily now they're settling down and, I do think Logan has found God, but it's at the root of all of that. Like, again, like you can't buy drugs if you don't have money, and you can't, do a lot of these things without money. But that also being said, like you do still need to be responsible with your money. And, there's more scripture here that let me find it. Let me find it. I wrote it down.
Yeah, while you're looking for that though, just kind of going off what you're saying, I'm thinking of like where the motivation to make money should come from, right? Like you and I have certain motivations, and it's not that they're completely pure and not that we're perfect at it. Like we are equally capable of being tempted into this. In fact, since moving to New York, I have found myself sometimes falling into like, oh, I just want to make a bunch of money and do all this and like show these people and like have this thing and have this stuff because it's so expensive just to live here,
Yeah.
right? Even to have my own apartment, I would need to be making at least $100,000, which I'm not going to say if I am or not, but I'm not. And it's just very tempting to just be like, you know what? Forget my passion for comedy, forget my, passion for working with youth in the community and like, doing like community outreach things like for like local families and stuff like that and the church and all that. It's like forget all that. You know what? I'm in debt. I'm broke in New York. I'm going to just sell my soul to corporate America. And I don't mean literally the soul. I just mean like all my work time.
Yeah.
And I work very hard at my job and I enjoy my job and I want to get better and I do want to get promoted, but not because, and I don't care if my company hears this, but not because I want to become a millionaire and be the richest, coolest sales dude ever, but because I come from a family that struggled financially, from a neighborhood that struggled financially, from a city that struggled financially. And I've seen the burden that it's not even that having a lot of money, it's just like not knowing to do with the little money that you have. I've seen the burden that can place on people. And the
That's a good way to
marriages that
put
can
it.
tear apart. The marriages that can tear apart. Like the whole like, dude, it can be wild. So anyway, not to ramble too much, but
But
I think
yeah.
that my motivation right now for making money is to pay my bills, but also so that the future generations of my family don't have to go through what my parents went through and maybe what I went through a little bit as a child. But
Which,
even
I
though I
mean,
know
that
they were
actually
working
ties
hard.
into the bit of scripture really well. Like we're back in 1 Timothy 5:8. But if anyone does not provide for their relatives and especially their own household, they have denied the faith and are worse than an unbeliever. So it's like it is still biblical to make money and to want to
Absolutely.
provide. And that's exactly like kind of what you're talking about. It's like you don't want to, sure, there are those moments where like you want to make money just to like, be that boss dude in New York, but deep down the real desire to make money and to be good with your finances is to be able to provide for, the people that you love, for your relatives, for your, future household. Like that's where the real desire comes from, is to be able to be a provider and to take care of the people that are closest to you. That especially for me is helpful because it's like I've always kind of struggled with that. Do I like, is making money okay? Like that's honestly something that I've thought about, especially because, um when I first started reading the Bible, like it was constant. It was like the Gospels, finish the New Testament, back to the Gospels, read Genesis, back to the Gospels. So like I've read this next verse, Matthew 19:23 through 26, where Jesus says, "And again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to make it into the kingdom of God." And that verse has always just kind of stuck in my brain. Like, okay, don't chase money. You don't need money. Like, you don't need to make more money. You don't need to advance your career. Like, you need to like grow closer to God. And for a period of time, that was a good mindset to have. But it's like now that's like my constant mindset. Like, that's constantly what I'm thinking, is like trying to grow in faith and trying to be a better representation of Christ, to where now I can focus on some of these other things. Now I can focus a little more on my career because it's not as oh, I want to make as much money as I can so I can build my gym, or so I can, get some chickens for the backyard and eat better, or so I can get a new car, or, so I can, go out with my friends more and not have to worry about it. Now it's like, well, I want to have a family one day and I want to be able to provide for them. Like, I don't want them to worry about, hey, are we going to be able to eat today? Like, are we gonna, have water today? Like, is the electricity gonna be on when I go home? Like, I don't want my future family to have to worry about those things. I want to be able to take care of my relatives and my household, like it says in scripture. So I think just remembering that and remembering that, there are good and bad choices that you can make with money. And like, it doesn't have to be like just to make as much as you possibly can. And like another thing with that is like, a lot of like, celebrities, or I would say it's mainly celebrities because influencer people are typically too young to have experienced it. Like, I think a lot about like Jim Carrey and like Robin Williams. So Robin Williams obviously, deleted him.
Goated.
Yeah, very funny guy, but like, was chasing after the fame and the fortune and everything. And like, he talked about how it just left him feeling empty. And Jim Carrey, the same thing. Like, he's talked about how the fame and the money, like it's all nothing. Like, it doesn't fulfill you like you think it's gonna fulfill you. So there's no real reason in chasing it. And I'm pretty sure Jim Carrey has converted to being a Christian and trying to live a more Christ-like life. So props to him. But that was another thing I struggled with because, like, I used to do YouTube videos, and when I was uploading workout content originally, it was because like I wanted to blow up on social media and I wanted to make a ton of money, and that was always something I struggled with. It was like, why am I doing this? Am I doing this to make a lot of money? Yes, okay, that's the reason. Well, I see all these people talking about them chasing this thing and it not being fulfilling. So like, where am I going to find that fulfillment from was always like this internal battle that I had. And it wasn't up until, a few months ago, 6 months ago, that I, really kind of shifted that mindset and was like, okay, like, enough of these games, enough of, chasing the things the world tells me to chase or the desires of my flesh. Like, I need to lock in with my faith and, really dial that in. And it's just kind of fresh on my mind because, like I told you before we started recording, met with my pastor this morning, and it was something that we talked about a lot. I told him about the big event that happened post breakup that I called you about, and you were a little intoxicated that night, and we couldn't, have a whole conversation about it. But
That's not true. I had a couple beers and I was out. For the record, go ahead,
he was
continue.
he was
Don't slander my name on this podcast, Jacob.
he was plenty fine. He definitely
I mean, I wouldn't have
remembered
driven
it.
that night, but
Yeah, no. But yeah, so like I told him about that, and it was kind of funny to me because he was like, he has me fill out these like he asked me like questions on scripture and like has me reflect on them and whatnot. And he was reading some of my answers, and then I told him about that, and he just put his iPad away, and we just kind of dove into that. He was asking me all these different questions about it. He was like, "Well, do you think that happened because of your sin?" And I was like, "Yes." He was like, "Well, did you read that story about King David that I told you to read?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Did you see the parallel between it?" I was like, "Yes." And we just kind of kept going from there. And yeah, so it's just like, and he asked me a lot about like the ways that I've grown in faith and like how it's changed me. And it really kind of just made me realize that like even now, like I want this podcast to be successful, and I would love for this to be like my main focus and, able to earn me money. But it's like, that's not the end all goal for it. Like, the goal is like these conversations right now, and like teaching people who maybe aren't as versed in the scripture or as deep in the church as we are about some of these ideas. Cause like I said, when I had read like my first original experience in the scripture was reading the gospels, and that one verse, it's harder for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. I mean, it's harder for a rich man to get into heaven than for a camel to go in the eye of a needle. Like, that just stuck in my head. And then it wasn't until, reading Timothy a second time that like I saw that next verse of, you're supposed to provide for your relatives. You're supposed to take care of your household. And if you don't, you're essentially like acting like an unbeliever because you're not taking care of the ones that you love. Like, it is still sinful not to make money and provide for your family. And that maybe there's other people that don't know that. Like, I didn't know that for a very long time. It's like, maybe there is other people that don't, and they do have that same sort of struggle that I do when it comes to making money and wanting to advance your career, is that they hear all these things about money being evil and money being bad. And again, it's not that money is bad or money is evil. It's the love of money that is. It's the chasing of money for money's sake that is evil. And like, just sharing those different things, like that's what Like if one person listens to this podcast and they walk away being like, okay, you know what? I need to make more money to take care of my kids. Like they're not taking care of their kids and that's why they want to make more money. Then we won. Like we got a W. Like even if we never make any money, we don't ever make a dime off this podcast. Like that's a win in my book.
Yeah, and we're not ever gonna make money off this podcast, so that's
Yeah,
good that you
definitely
feel that
not.
way. Yeah, I'm just kidding. We're gonna be so freaking rich off these suckers. Yeah, no, and we're all learning this together too, right? Like that's why it's like we're just having an honest talk about where we've been, where we're trying to go, and what we're learning and what we've learned. And we don't know it all, but yeah, I think it's really important to just be mindful of these things. So with that, why is this important? Why is everything Jacob just said relevant? Why does it matter? I think this is relevant stuff to everyone, whether you are poor, whether you're not poor, whether you're Christian, whether you're not Christian, because at the end of the day, like the way that we spend our money does say a lot about like who we are and how we live. And so if you're responsible with your money, yes, you can have a great life for yourself or your family, but you can also be generous with your money. And there's some people will say, oh, well, if you're giving money to charity, are you really just doing that to make yourself feel better? Or if you buy someone dinner, are you really just doing that to make yourself feel better? Or giving money to the homeless, are you really just doing that to make yourself feel better? Sometimes you are, and that's fine because that person that's receiving it on the other end isn't like, oh, you just did this to feel better. They're like, no, thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay. So if you can do well with money, if you can get out of debt, if you can, which I'm working on, if I don't want to just say you like I'm talking to people, I should say we, because I'm in this, I'm in this as well. But if we can be better with our money and learn how to be good stewards of it, whether we're making 30K or 300K, then we can honor God, honor our families, and be generous with our money. And so why is this important? Well, I put up some facts real quick on income and expenditures in America. So this is actually surprising. I didn't know this, but apparently in 2023, the typical American household earned around $101,000, or excuse me, $101,805 before taxes. Yo, that's higher than I thought because the families I know in Akron don't even have
I was
that.
gonna say, yeah.
So, dude, we know some poor folks, and my family is all under that good amount. I know households that are half of this and are not getting government aid. That's crazy. So that's kind of shocking. So let's see, and then the some other stats that we have. Housing is about 32.9% of total expenditures. That makes sense. Transportation is usually around 17%. Food is around 13%. And here's some debt statistics that I just want to dive into real quick. And this will show why this is relevant to everyone. Because not only Christians go into debt. So total consumer debt as of the third quarter in 2024, so that means July, August, September of 2024, U.S. consumers owed a total of 17.57 trillion, marking a 2.4% increase from the previous year. This is total consumer debt, collective debt in this country, not including the deficit, by the way. This is not including the deficit that the government owes.
The
This is just
deficit's not real.
consumer. This is just the consumer total, okay? And you're wrong about that, but we're not talking about that today. So that's a 2.4% increase from the previous year. The average debt per household, how about this? The average American household carries a total debt of approximately, are you ready for this? So remember, I said the average household income is 101,805. The average American household carries a total debt of approximately 104,215, encompassing mortgages, loans, student loans, and credit cards.
So people are in more debt than the amount of money they're making.
The average debt is more than the average household income. And it says debt levels tend to peak among individuals ages 40 to 49. That's because they're buying a house. So that kind of makes sense. And you can get more deep into those weeds. So, that's a little nuance. That's a spectrum. That's just the average, but still not all of that is mortgage, right? The last one, and this is the one that gets everyone, individuals, families, they get you as soon as you can get one of these things, credit card
Credit
debt.
card.
Here we go.
Boom.
So the last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you comment, Jake. The household with credit card debt have an average balance of around $6,065 in credit card debt. Now that's on a month-to-month basis, right? So it's like you're paying this monthly and it's going back up. You're
Did you
paying it
say
and you're never getting out of it.
6,000?
$6,065. So that's an average. Yeah, households with credit card debt have an average balance. So more or less, right? But that's just the average. It says notably the
Pretty good.
interest rates
My
on.
credit card limit's only $200.
Yeah, smart. Stay on that one. Stay on that because once you get a debt limit of like, or they'll give you like limits of like 10,000, 15,000. Some people, most people under 10,000 if you're under 30. But yeah, stay away from those high yield or high limit credit cards. But it looks like it says here the interest rates on credit card debt have risen from about 15% in November 2021 to approximately 21% by November 23. That's just 2 years, increasing the monthly interest payments from $76 to $106 for the average indebted household. So that means your monthly interest. So where are these rewards coming in, guys? Where are these rewards if your interest is around $106? We're suckers. I'm a sucker. You're suckers. We're all suckers. You're the sucker. He's a sucker. I'm Joe Biden. You're the sucker. He's right. We're suckers. Hey, Joe, go back to your room. Go back to bed. Anyway, it's just some crazy stuff, right? Yeah. Jacob, as I'm saying these. Oh, and the last thing, because this is important. With all those numbers I just gave you, the very last numbers that are important, here's the monthly expenses by household for single people, you and myself. It's around, on average, $3,641 per month. Married couples, it's around $7,400 per month without children. Families of 4, it's between $9,800 per month, depending on the child's ages. These figures kind of underscore the importance of budgeting, right? And the financial planning to manage expenditures and your debt effectively. It's so important.
Yeah.
Crazy stats. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, no, I mean, gives me a lot more hope. I'll say that because
Yeah.
my total bills and everything are not that high, and just shows me that if I just budget my money better, like I will be doing a-okay. And if I work my butt off and make a little bit more money, I will be doing a-okay. And there's another bit of scripture. I did some research for you guys today, man. Hit that like button. Proverbs 22:7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a slave to
Slave
the
to the
lender.
lender. Amen to
Yeah,
that, brother.
yeah. So I mean, and that kind of just, I mean, it goes right into exactly what you're saying. Like all that debt, like you're a slave to paying that debt off. Like you no longer can work for, the finer things in life, which I'm not trying to say that you should chase the finer things in life, but it's no longer for the reward. Like you got to pay these things off now. Like you have to, if you have $6,000, that's crazy to me. That's the craziest one. $6,000 credit card debt a month. Like you got to pay that off. Like that's a lot of money. Like that's a
It's wild.
lot.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a few ways, and I know we're coming up on time, but just a few practical ways that you guys can look more into that I pulled up. I am a big advocate of the Dave Ramsey method. Jacob has read Total Money Makeover. I have read that book as well. I listen to his radio show. And if you don't have any money, you're able to listen to this. You have YouTube. Go on YouTube right now if you're struggling with financial, wellness, or if you have debt or you don't know how to budget. Just type in Dave Ramsey how to budget or how to get out of debt. There's free resources all over line.
If you have a link, I will put the link in the description of this
we'll
video.
put the link in. Yeah, we'll put some links down below on this one, actually. And there's also an app called Every Dollar, the Every Dollar app. And if you don't know how to budget it, put in your income into ChatGPT and then put in your expenses and then say, make me a budget. ChatGPT will make you the best budget possible to pay off your debt as quickly as possible or to save as much money as quickly as possible. And you can take those amounts, put them in the Every Dollar app, and keep track of your money so that you know where every single dollar goes. Because if you don't know where every single dollar goes, those dollars disappear. So you can do the Dave Ramsey debt snowball method, the baby steps. You can do the 50-30-20 rule is a good one that makes it simple. So the 50-30-20 rule, I learned this one right after college. And this is a good one if you're not going to do the Ramsey method. 50% of your income is going to your needs. That's your housing, your groceries, in health insurance, car insurance, all those things. 30%, and this is for people that want to have a little more fun. 30% is for your wants, and then 20% goes into your savings. Now, if you're in debt, then I would say you need to just do like 80-20. 80% needs, 20% savings. You're not getting any wants. You know what I mean? Like if you need new clothes, that's a need. If you need food, that's a need. But you got to pay off those debts, man. So that's what I'm trying to do, be more strict about it. But 50-30-20 is better than the majority of Americans.
Yeah.
And so that's a good one. Another one is using cash, like what we talked about, to be more aware of what you're spending, the envelope method. But there's a ton of apps, there's a ton of things like that, right? And so those are just some quick practical ways you can look more into and we'll link them below as well.
Yeah. And also, making a budget is not difficult. Like, it's
It's not.
literally like I don't you don't even need to watch a video. What are your bills? Okay, rent is this much, gas is this much, electric is this much, my car insurance is this much. I spend X amount on streaming services, which easy way to cut them back is by tracking how many streaming services you are and how much they are monthly. Easy way to cut how much you're spending every month. And like so many people just don't understand that. Like I never watched a video. No one ever taught me how to build a budget. But I just like I've been able to build one just by literally doing that thing. Okay, I have to pay this much in rent. I've paid this much. Like these are my expenditures. This is what I have to spend my money on. Okay, it adds up to this much. So that means I have this much left to spend. And then something that I do, which I'm sure most people can do, is 10% of my paycheck automatically goes into a savings account that is not even connected to the card that I have in my phone wallet. So it's like
Which that's great.
I
That's
don't
amazing.
have access to that money. It just automatically goes into a savings account that is not even connected to this account. So it's like you can do that. Anybody can do that. Automatically set up your paychecks to where a certain amount of money is going straight into a savings account. It takes the pressure off of you. You no longer have to be like, oh, okay, I got paid this amount of money. Well, I want to put this amount in savings. No, 10% is always going away. And you probably should be doing more. I just do 10% because I want to buy stuff for my gym. The gym is in this conversation. I'm realizing that maybe trying to build my home gym a little bit too quickly because that's where all my money was going. But anyway, yeah. So it's like that is a very easy thing that everybody can do. And you know what? I'm actually going to up how much goes into my savings account after
There
this.
we go.
Next, I'm going to go into work tomorrow and fill out one of those forms and up that. Because I
There
mean,
we
I
go.
don't need to be spending money on stuff that I am. And my big thing for spending is food. Like I go to the grocery store and I buy groceries. And I don't always eat all my groceries because I like to eat out. I like KFC. I like Chipotle. I don't go to McDonald's very much anymore. But I have had periods in time where I'm like, Big Mac sounds good today, and I'm getting a Big Mac every other day. So it's like that's my biggest obstacle with spending is eating out. And it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. But that's why I'm gonna go to the cash rule because like it's gonna once I run out of the cash that I can spend on eating out and hanging out with friends and doing that type of things, I'm out. I've got nowhere to spend.
It's really helped me a lot, and I'm just more aware of it. Even you just feel it. You physically feel like, oh, I'm giving this to this. I'm not getting this back, you know. But when you do this phone, you're just like, boop. All right, yep, that's it. I'll check. I'll worry about it later.
Yep.
So a few things then. Well, let's give some challenges to the folks out there. Well, first off, if you're really struggling with money, if it's always worrying you, if it's always a stress, I have been there. I am there. I understand. But I do believe that I will get out of this debt. I'll get out of this, stronghold financially. And so I would say, like, I just would want to motivate anyone that is in there, like coming from the family that I come from. Like, if any of them are listening, that they would be have hope in that. And then if you don't struggle with that, if that's not a thing, then give some money to some poor people this week, folks, because
Yeah.
we could use it. But
I mean, that's actually like really helpful though, because like I read this book, it's called The Psychology of Money, and it talks about how like there are people that don't save, like there's three types of belief systems when it comes to money. It's either I don't need, or when it comes to savings, it's either I don't need to save because I'm never gonna be able to like have a significant amount of money saved up, or I should be saving, but I'm not because like it's sort of still the same type of mindset. And then there's the people that know that they should be saving and do save. So like there's the three kinds of mindsets. And I like most of my life growing up, because I did grow up, on the poorer side, I kind of had that mindset of, there's no reason for me to save. I'm never gonna have any money. And then I tried to flip that mindset and started making myself save money, and I had more money in my bank account than I ever thought I possibly could have. So it's like you just saying that, like it's real stuff. Like you have to believe that you can save money and that you can, you know, become financially responsible and financially free in a sense in order to do it. Like it's first starts with that belief.
Exactly. And then it gets you locked in and focused. Just like with anything, if you don't focus on it, if you don't believe in it, you don't focus on it, it's never going to happen. Some people call that manifesting, but I just call it focusing,
Yeah,
right? I giving yourself motivation in locking into something. If you just speak it and say it all the time, that alone doesn't mean it's going to happen. But if you're thinking about it often and talking about it often, then you're staying focused and locked in on it. And
absolutely.
so we just want to encourage people to do that. And yeah, would love to hear some stories of encouragement financially, where you came from. Are you poor? Are you rich? Or did you grow up in a poor household? Did you not? Do you even know what money is? Is it because mommy and daddy are paying for everything still? Or did you not have to worry about that? Because if so, I'm single and would love to meet your family. So
And give us any
as
advice
we,
that you may have.
yeah, please. And if you have if you have a good crypto thing, let me know. Well, I know we're running out of time. So, as we kind of wrap up the financial portion, Jacob, there's just one more thing I wanted to talk to you about, just to kind of keep the flow going as we're following this storyline for the millions of WWE fans that tune into our
Yes.
podcast. John Cena promo number 2 as the heel. How are you feeling about it?
Straight fire. So much better than the first promo. So much better
Okay,
than the
talk to
first.
me. What was better this time around?
He just seemed more like ruthless, more heel, like less crybaby.
Yeah, for sure.
But like he had, and like it was so good because like they're just doing the storytelling so well. Like he
I can tell you.
had to have that first crybaby promo in order for this promo to go well, for him to seem like he can be mean and he can be, kind of, I can't think of a good word without cursing. Just to be a bad guy. Like
A mean guy.
he needed that crybaby promo for this promo to really hit and to really land, and to
I get it.
seem real. And then, yeah, dude, it was great. I loved it. And then,
Dude.
freaking the Usos reunited the next match, Jimmy
Yeah?
and Jay, and yeah, dude, it's WWE so good. If you're not a WWE fan, what are you doing, man?
You can
it is
jump
on
in.
fire right now.
This
What did you think?
weekend,
What did you think of
folks
the promo?
well, this weekend, folks, make a budget or donate to the poor and watch WWE. That's all I gotta say, all right? I thought it was really good. Me and my roommate watched it the other night, because it was on during the day. I stayed off social media, so nothing spoiled it for me, and, yeah, came home and we watched it, and it was just like, "Wow, this dude is doing really well as a heel, actually," and, but man, I wanted to see him fight, dude. They got so
Yeah.
close. They
Which that's
teased
that's
us.
such a good heel thing to do.
It was so good because he's really making me hate him. He's really making me pissed off with him because we wanna see him wrestle,
He's being
and he
that
just
punk
won't do
guy
it.
that you're like, man, he just needs to get his butt whooped, and he's avoiding getting his butt whooped.
Yeah. But what I wanna know is, let's be real, even though he's heel and Cody Rhodes angry is dope, who are you rooting for in this match? Can you say it yet, or do you know yet?
You can't see me. It's gotta be
Dang,
John, bro. It's
bro.
gotta be
He
John.
hates
I
you. He
need
literally broke up
17.
with you.
I don't care. You know how
He
many
broke up with you,
ex-girlfriends I've chased after they broke up with me? I don't care. I'll keep
but
chasing after you, John.
we're breaking that cycle, though.
Not with John.
Yeah, I still gotta think about it, bro.
I mean,
I don't know,
here's
man.
another thing I'll say. I am sick and tired of these ridiculously long world championship reigns on everybody. Roman Reigns, it made sense. That was an incredible run. I was glued in for the Roman Reigns run, and I'm a big Roman guy. We the ones. We the ones. But Seth had the World Heavyweight Championship for a year. Gunther's had it for almost a year. Cody's had it for a year. Let's change the title. Let's change it up, man. Like, look at what they're doing with the women's division. That belt has changed. There's been like 4 different champions. Liv's had it twice. She had 2 different reigns this year. It makes it so much more exciting. I actually watch the women's, like, for the women's world title match stuff. Like, if I don't watch Raw, I will go back on YouTube and I'll watch the top 10 moments, and then I will go back and find the longer clip of what happened in the women's world title match. I don't always do that with Jey Uso and Gunther. Even though I love Jay, I'm more locked in for this Cody stuff, which they got to move it to SmackDown because Raw has everything right now, and it's overshadowing the Jay and Gunther stuff. So they got to get John on SmackDown and
Randy Orton
Cody on SmackDown.
SmackDown. Randy Orton's been dope on
Yeah,
SmackDown.
he has been dope on SmackDown, but there's no world champion that's doing stuff over there right now. Cody's supposed to be the champion over there, and he's on Raw every week because that's where Cena is.
Mm.
But yeah, I want to see this title start changing hands more. And it's like when we were growing up watching, like there was world title matches on Raw and SmackDown all the time. Like the title would change on Raw and SmackDown all the time, and it doesn't happen anymore. So I'm hoping that, with H at the helm and just being full-fledged and creative, that maybe he'll do it a little more. But yeah, I'm sick and tired of these ridiculously long world champion reigns. And I do love Cody, but yeah, it's time for him to give up that belt and start chasing again.
Your time is up. My time is now. That's all I got to say. So we'll see how that goes. And the last thing I'll say on this before we wrap up is I have a bold prediction. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how, but I do believe that this year, at some point, we will see the WWE title shift on Monday Night Raw. I don't know who it's going to be.
So like the
But I do
WWE
think
title
it's
will be on Raw, the World Heavyweight Championship will be on SmackDown.
I think that, well, yeah, that too. Well, they're both on. I mean, Cody's been going on both right now. So
Cody goes on both, but he's technically a SmackDown superstar.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yep.
So, okay, well, I just think that there will be, well, it'd be cool if they did it on SmackDown. I think there's going to be a match. Let's say this, Raw or SmackDown. The WWE title there's going to be a match, and someone's going to win the WWE title on Raw or SmackDown this year. That's what I'm
Gotcha.
saying.
Okay.
It's going to trade hands on just regular cable.
Yes.
Shout out to cable.
I
And
need it. I need it.
And I don't even think the person is in the match at WrestleMania. I don't think it's the two we're talking about right now. So we'll see. That's just
Do you
my
have a
bold
person you think
prediction.
it is?
I'm gonna wait. I'll come back to this prediction.
No.
'cause I'm-
Say it
I'm
here.
going
That way we
with- well,
can
I
clip
don't-
this when it
no,
happens and
I
be like,
don't
listen, he
have
predicted
one
it
yet.
years
I
ago.
have a few, and I need to think about it.
What
more.
are your thoughts on LA Knight? You think it's gonna be him?
I actually really like him. I will say
He's great.
I really like him.
I like LA Knight.
I
a
would
lot.
love to see someone take that title that is not in the top 5 right now.
Yeah.
And kind of build up someone new, and they can take it as a heel. They can do whatever. If you have good enough heels, I do think you'll build baby faces. I don't think it's the other way around. I think you have to have a strong heel, and
Yeah.
I think they knew that, and that's why The Rock has been the final boss, and it's been amazing. Cena's gonna do this. It's been amazing. But that's it. That's all I'll say on that.
All right, last hot take before we get out of here. It's time to put the IC title belt on Dirty Dom Mysterio, dude. I'm here for it, dude. I think they're planting the seeds, and I want to see it happen, man. He's one of the hottest heels in the business. Let him wear a belt, man. That's not a tag team belt. Let him be the IC champ. I would love to see it. I would love to see Dirty Dom holding that IC belt. I don't know how
He's
it's gonna
never had-
happen. No, he's never. He's been tag team champ
Never
a
had
couple
one.
times. He's never won a singles title, and he's one of the hottest
I'm
heels
with
in
you
the
then.
business.
I'm just glad his father won the custody match. Or did he?
He probably wishes his father didn't win the
He
custody
did.
match. He did win the custody
Yeah.
match.
He did win the custom match. Rip Eddie Guerrero. Well, that's all I got for today, man. Jacob, any final thoughts?
No, yeah. Just make sure you get your money right. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at _hoppyhops. There will be at least one clip out by the time you see this. Hopefully multiple, but there will for sure be one because I have it edited, ready to go. I just didn't post it because it was so late, and I wanted to try to boost the interaction.
We're talking fitness.
Fitness.
Love it.
Found a new lat exercise I really like.
Love it. Excited about it. I can't wait. I'm going to be reposting that all over the internet. I'm going to send it to
Yeah.
Oprah. I'm going to send it to Oprah, see what she has to say about it. She'd probably comment on your form a little bit. She does that sometimes when she's working out with me. But, well, this has been fun. Get your money right. Nighty night. Tight. John Cena. It's been fun. It's been real. But it hasn't been not those things. Signing off. This has been the Half Brothers Pod. Thank you so much for listening. Mother, good night.
Bye, guys.